I sit down from what is likely to be my final session of Demon's Souls. So we put it back in the crypt for another 4 years, or however this works. Everything's done. That one's done, that one's done, that one's done, that one's done. It's all you. The Valley of Defilement. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's everyone's favorite part. The Valley of Defilement leads to a huge swamp in which all that is unclean flows, becoming a nest for putrilage, vermin, and plague. I should bring a lot of moss. Not moss. Bloom. The thing it's called. The thing it's actually called, instead of the thing it's not called, you know? Oh yeah, put away the bastard sword again. Done with that for now, until I learn the hard way that I need it again or something. I think we're done with that. I don't think there's anything else that can be a roadblock in this playthrough. Pretty sure it was just that one boss. I thought it was gonna be 2 bosses. Let's get rid of, like, most of you. You guys add up in weight also. I just don't want to have to deal with any more weight problems in the rest of the game, please. But I also need all these poison ones, probably. I don't have any plague ones in here? Well, alrighty then. You have a heart of gold. Don't let them take that from you. He says, surrounded by the corpses of everyone else who was ever here. Aww. I don't know if plague happens in this region. Plague happens in the next region. I don't know if it happens here, but do I really only have 3? Not a good sign, although I think plague is so dangerous that I don't know if it even can save you in time. Anyway. It was really remarkable to me how much Leechmonger was like a new encounter for me to fight. Because I was like, what is this? What? This is all, I don't, like, it was such an unrecognizable fight to me because I realized that I totally shot at him from a distance or something and didn't actually know how a fight against Plague Monster worked. I mean, Leechmonger, not Plague Monster. So this is the, at this point, obligatory poison swamp that's in every From Software game. Especially all 5 Souls games have at least one plague swamp where you walk around and you get poisoned by walking around in it, and it's like, oh, so it's like usually it's like a really wide open area, whereas like these environments are usually like really restrictive and hallway-y, and you're trying to find your different paths through the different hallways and stuff like that, and they're not linear, but they're more restrictive normally. But you get to these zones of each game and it's like, welcome to a wide as hell open expanse of question mark, question mark, question mark. And this is one of the more extreme versions of it, at least at first glance, because you cannot see anything. You can't tell which of those lights out there are actual lights in the environment, or which ones might be just like background elements. I mean, you can kind of maybe tell. It looks like over there, those might just be like fake. I can't tell. There's also, because it's a PS3 game, there's some really weird rendering things going on here. Like you can see straight lines where it goes from, it just turns into a blur. It's really weird to look at. Like down there is all of the weird, I don't even know what to call it. It's their like weird, it's like an effect that they try to use to make it look like rain, but it looks like a World of Warcraft spell effect. That's just something that I relate to, at least because I would use the WoW model viewer to like look at spell effects individually in World of Warcraft, and they'd just be a weird pulse. You can see like it's a bunch of like fist-sized on the screen, like glomps of rain mush that are like tweening and growing and shrinking and then disappearing and reappearing all over the screen at once. So it's just layering all over the place over itself to make it look like a sheet of rain. It is the most bizarre effect for rain that I've seen, I think. But also there's a weird blurring line where, I don't know why, but it turns blurry past that one diagonal line and that horizontal line. You can see it zigzag over there, and I'm like, what is happening over there? What is that? I assume that's the boundary of the map, and that everything outside of the map is blurred. And if you look towards the outsides of the map, just the environment gets blurred because that's where the swamp ends or something. But being able to see it so clearly is strange. it almost looks like the artifact you would get from playing a low-res game in a high-res like emulator and being able to see stuff you weren't supposed to see before, or like playing an HD remake of a game, or one of those re-releases that renders the game in a high resolution. But this is the native resolution this game always ran at. I believe it's at 720 even. I don't think this game runs at 1080, but I don't remember for sure. All I know is I see a lot of jagged edges. Wow, what was that? Whoa. It went dark then light. There it is. Dark. Oh, it's fun to look at. I don't know what's going on there. It's weird. If we get low enough, we'll eventually see the floor. Just barely. Because the draw distance in this zone is so reduced that you can't actually see the floor at first. Ow. Stop that. Which, come to think of it, I think this zone runs better than Blighttown, so I wonder if the low resolution running at a low draw distance actually makes it run better than Blighttown did as a result. Because Blighttown, I think you could see most of Blighttown at any given moment, which is probably why it's famous for not working, basically. That'll be interesting to see if the HD remake fixes that. I mean, if they don't, then what was the point? Is this not plague water? Have I fundamentally misremembered? Okay, is the swamp not... Maybe it's later, or maybe it's not even in this game, and I'm just like, oh, no. Oh, there's no poison meter. That's what it is. The original of the series, Demon's Souls, doesn't have a poison meter across the middle of the screen like in all three Dark Souls games and Bloodborne, so you can't see yourself getting poisoned. That's the real thing going on. Okay. So this place is pretty wide open, but much like the Shrine of Amana, it has a series of islands that are all near each other, and if you're trying to avoid the poison, which you would rapidly learn, I don't want to be poisoned probably, then you probably would very quickly decide to follow said islands. Or you can run around out here and just chase every single glowy thing you see, which could be all sorts of things. Could be a unique item, could be 11 crescent moon grass. It could be 100 different disappointments. Hooray, a broken sword. I came all the way out here for that. I think every glowy bit might have actually been in the zone. It's just the fact that they, uh-oh. Hey, is that Ludwig's sword? How you doing? Are you Meralda the Butcher? Or one of the Butcher characters? Ooh. 2 stones of ephemeral eyes. Neat. Yeah, I think every glowy bit might have been in the map, actually. Which just raises questions about what the point of the weird blurry thing was. Decreased damage from falls. The cat's ring. Hey! It was all the way back in the first game. I primarily associate it with Dark Souls 2 because it's quote-unquote mandatory for progression. Not quite. You can get more health and take all your armor off and, you know, no other tricks about reducing fall damage, but... Or get the ladder guy. But it's the most obvious solution the game presents at the beginning of the game, at least. So if you want your sucker stone, it's everywhere around here. You feel a bit more like a sucker for bothering to get it through this kind of a not hospitable setting. Oh cool, 4 souls. These guys are super worth killing. And that's with the Ring of Avarice equipped. It's interesting because you can be done with the zone in like 30 seconds if you just say, I'm leaving now. You could just go straight for the portal. Look at this big guy. He looks friendly, doesn't he? Wow. That didn't heal me for crap. Does poison reduce your healing in this game? Is that a mechanic? I think it might be. Interesting. Hey, you. Don't notice me. I'm going for the backstab. Shh. I don't know if I can backstab him. Uh-oh. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, what are you doing over there? I don't know if he knows how to use that knife, or maybe he's got back pain. It's a good thing the plague made them deaf. Yeah. Whoa, look at the creepy spider candle. Oh, because it's on one piece of wood. It looked like it was standing up on its wax. I'm like, that doesn't work that way, but I like the look of it. That looks bad. Is there a thing hiding in the cave over there? Are there any items hiding behind that mess? I'm not gonna gamble it. If I were to take a guess, because I don't really feel like testing it the hard way, that weird patch of different colored floor might be plague instead of poison. Uh-oh. That'd be one way to find out. I almost walked into one of them. That might be plague. It might be more severe, but I'm not entirely sure. These guys have the most bizarre attack patterns. Oh, you're not an item, you're a candle. No! Oh, that's gross. Right, a lot of the things that look like items in this area are candles. It's good and bad for two different reasons. One, like the bad thing is that you can't tell how your item completion's going at picking up all the items necessarily, because you look at the candles and you think that they're items. But it's also good because if you pick up all the items, you still have a path through the zone, because you get a clear indication via light. Because light is the go-to way of teaching people how to navigate an environment in, like, most video games. Goes from various stages of tropiness, like even in like the room games, I'll be playing around with these puzzle boxes, and whenever it's time to use a different puzzle box or a new part of the environment becomes relevant to the puzzle suddenly, where that wasn't interactive before, usually a light will turn on over said object. In fact, when I heard about them making an Ocarina of Time HD remake, the big like patch note that I read that indicated how they were going to improve the water temple, which was this place that people famously got really confused in, I guess. I didn't share that experience when I played the game this last year for the first time, and in the original version, well, the virtual console version on Wii U, which is the OG version, but running a bit better, basically. I had no trouble navigating the place, but I assume it's because it's like one of my favorite types of games and favorite types of environments to navigate, so I'm like, yay! Whereas people that were growing up playing Mario 64 and stuff would be like, what is this? But it's interesting how, like, a story can become relevant back then and then it can just stick, because to this day, I'll be browsing like Imgur or something, and people will be like, the damn trope about the water temple will come up, about this like unnavigatable environment, and I'm like, you mean the best one? The water temple might have been the best temple in the entire game. And I'm like, what are you people crazy? You know, apparently it was before its time. But anyway, the patch note I saw about that when they were supposedly fixing a water temple for people in the HD version is that they were adding lighting to it. Because lighting is just a signifier of how to navigate environments on a regular basis. So wow, my poison actually wore off. So when it was time to try to fix this age-old temple that got complained about for like 20 years, they did so supposedly by changing the lighting of the environment to help you navigate it. So that's why you always have these candles and stuff like that in the darkness. Like, they know what those candles mean to you. They know how important they are to the audience. Ow. Rude. Aha! I found a use for the overhead swing besides getting hit. Ow. That was very rude, sir. Ah. How did I miss you? How did I... You know what? It doesn't matter. Mosquitoes are shitty enemies and no one wants to deal with them. Oh, shit. I didn't get both of you? Oh. Oh. This anime-ass dude thinks he's just gonna stab the ground with a dagger 500 feet away and it's gonna, like, do a shockwave to me. Who do you think you are, most of the bosses? Who do you think you are, Allant? No. You're just some asshole. You don't get to have special powers. You just get to kind of suck and light a stick on fire. Ow. Dick. Is this where they spawned behind me? What was that scream? What was that scream? That was a weird sound. Interestingly, the addition of the poison meter in later games actually is a weird case of where giving more information adds tension as opposed to giving less information. Because in this game, you don't know how much standing in the... Unless I'm missing it somewhere on the screen. You don't know how much standing in the swamp will actually cause bad things to happen to you. So you kind of just are resigned to it. Those weird patches of purple might not mean anything. They might just be a bit of variety. But in Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne, whenever you get to the poison swamp level, you run around in here and you see that meter filling up. You're like, oh god, and you're like trying to see if you can like roll onto land at the last second to avoid triggering over to that happening. Because nobody wants to be poisoned. Oh, you're not even an item. You're like this random candle. I think a character might come here at some point if you do specific things. Thief's Ring again. Is that my third or fourth one? They had a different idea back then of how often you should duplicate items, I suppose. I want to say there's sometimes a character here. But the list of characters is hard to keep track of sometimes. I think Demon's Souls, even now, has to be the game out of the 5 I have the weakest grasp of as far as where all the characters are, or even who all the characters are, to even look for in the first place. Many of them have very little presence, and so they just have like, hey, it's that guy that's in the hallway that one time, and that's like that character's story arc. Like that's the summation of his encounters, and it's like, oh, you missed him, you didn't have the right world tendency. I'm like, oh, dang it. Oh. I don't even know what I missed out on, but okay. There's something relentlessly charming about how this game is filled with just raw creativity and nonsensical things that really just, a lot of the mechanics in this game and ideas that went into this game just don't work necessarily. Like, they're not... They don't really serve a lot of purposes, right? That while it really just... Yeah, your healing sucks when you're in this state. How much do you heal me? I'm going. But like, they were definitely trying something, and they were about to step onto what would become like a company career-defining series. I've never been this powerful before when I get here. These guys usually are like this impossible foe. Ooh, is just one of them gonna come here? Oh, he's turning around. Because these guys hit really hard. We've established that before when I fought them in the other zone. And so here's 4 of them. And you're dying of poison. And you're in a swamp where you can't move. Is he gonna come here? You know what, let's put that thief ring on. They even gave you another one as like a reminder that it might be useful here. Like, these guys ruin you. Oh, if that's the problem. Yep. I'm going to die. Holy shit. Quickly before they turn around. So if you saw that little pose I did there, it's because I can't... Uh-oh. The issue is I can't roll. This is me rolling. You're automatically in a state like as if you're mega encumbered because of the knee-high sludge, which, given that I don't have a shield in this build, you might imagine why that might be bad news for me. Thankfully, I have such absurd strength that I can two-shot them, but only... That doesn't really work as well when they all start hitting me, because then I'll never get an attack off, because they take 7 years to launch. Oh yeah, Crescent Moon. Get out of my inventory, I don't want you here. I didn't invite you in my house. There we go. One at a time. Oh, he didn't get stunned. Oh, neither... Wow. That was the battle of the hyper armors. Neither of us got stunned. Joke's on you, I found land. Haha! The interesting thing is that there's no secondary attack for your right trigger. You can't do a second attack in a row of heavy, but you can follow it up with a light. Which is like an unusual case of combo transitions that I'm not really used to seeing. Basically, you can do L1 or you can do R1 or R2 to do an attack. And then no matter what attack you did, you can then follow it up with an R1, which is the flip over attack. It does both combos can be followed up with by the same attack at the end, and that's it. It's interesting because they do both kind of have a natural conclusion, I suppose, of where you would go next. I don't know where I am. Speaking of where I would go next, I don't know where I am. I knew which way to go, which was not this way. You just follow the path when you came down off that ledge, and there's clear islands everywhere to follow. But I wanted to poke around and see what weird stuff is out here. Yeah, there it is. They just like to put weird stuff around. They're like, here's weird slug monsters. Oh my god, you killed an NPC. How could you kill that NPC? He didn't even attack you. Oh, that's an entire faction quest. How could you do that? What are you, stupid? Partridge Farm remembers. I'm still not psyched about that choice. That they did that. Goddamn Dark Souls 3. Oh, that's an important faction character, but he looks like every enemy ever. What a reasonable thing to do. How could anyone be confused? They must be unreasonable. I won't say exactly what it is, but you guys will eventually see a case of Andrew doing the exact same thing in one of his playthroughs. Because it's actually a completely reasonable thing to do. The idea that an enemy that looks like every other enemy might, you know, be an enemy, but no, JK, that one's the NPC. For some reason. Uh-oh. They gave him nasty teeth. You. Oh, you're so gross looking. I have no reason to do this. Oh my god. This is the worst thing. The frame rate. It's dropping. The Havoc engine can't handle this many ragdolls at once. Oh god, that was an attack. No. Which ones are alive? Genuine concern. I can't tell which ones are alive anymore. Oh my god. Oh my god. When are you gonna run out and fall apart? Ow. Are they all dead yet? Ah, that one's alive. Ah. How do you tell? Oh my goodness. Bit overkill, isn't it? But if you want your sucker stone, here you go. Here's your farming location. What is sucker stone used? Is it for making bleeding weapons, or is it like life leech weapons? Is that a thing? Either way, it's like, who would ever... I don't know if that's really a great build, necessarily. Oh my god, you can see the pod they were all falling off of. The most disgusting thing. Can I go up there? What was that? Something break? Oh, there's one over there. Isn't there a way to get up there? Maybe not. But yeah, there's just this nightmare pod up there of all these horrible monsters. They're still up there. I imagine that that's all a singular monster asset, though. So I don't think those ones fall down. I think they spawn inside of it and fall out of it. Not sure. Gross. What an ambush scenario. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Here, do your swing. There it is. There it is. You can tell they're plagued because their entire body is so frail and thin and messed up, and their skin's all blotchy and everything. And then, but more than anything, they have that giant gut, which is from parasites dwelling inside their body. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What do you do? What do you do? I don't remember what you do. What is he doing over there? Oh, he shoots a poison cloud, doesn't he? Oh, yeah. Yeah, stop doing that. He's a nasty one's what he is. Old Spice. Everything's better with Old Spice. I don't think that's their slogan. I don't think that's their slogan at all. Here we go. I think there's a way up on this side. Oh, the insects. The swarm of mosquitoes. Hey, I didn't get poisoned. I don't see any items out there, so I will avoid. 2 down. No, no, no. Oh. Dicks. The downside of selling off my Old Spice. Here's where two go-to tips between different Souls games clash with each other, because in later Souls games you would keep an item in your inventory on purpose and remove it from your quick bar, and then it would not be considered a new item when you pick up more, which means it would not get automatically added to your quick bar. But in this game you have to deal with the fact that you run out of inventory space, which means you want to stash items like that or sell them. But that means that they're then treated as new items, which means that whenever you pick up one again, it gets added to your quick bar again. And you're like, no, stop doing that. I've removed it before. And there's no fix. You just gotta deal with one or the other, really. You keep one of the item in your inventory, I suppose. But there's no fix for the clutter. I think this might actually give me access to where the other side. Maybe I can go hit them up there. Maybe I'll be proven wrong and they are all individual assets. Might account for the frame rate drop, at least. Uh-oh. Well, that didn't work out. Goodbye. Oh yeah, you can't... I was right, you can reach up here. Let's learn... Ow. Let's learn whether or not they're all individual enemies or not. Goodbye! That looked like it felt great. Am I right? Are you all one blob? They're kind of moving individually. They might be individual physics objects. I don't know if I believe that either, though, because, like, since when can this engine handle that many physics objects layering over each other? I don't know. I think that guy just jumped off a cliff and died, though. Which raises questions how the other ones were jumping off without dying. Here we go. So I think you have to cut it here, don't you? Whoa. Oh my god. Oh right, there's like a weapon inside, isn't there? But now there's an even worse island of blob monsters. I think they're all alive. Oh no. Get ready, protagonist man. I've got good news for you. The worst thing's gonna happen now. Oh, it's gonna be a great time. Don't you want— oh, is it the Moonlight Greatsword? Is that where it is? Welcome to game 2 of which ones are still alive. You'll never know. What you find out will shock you. In 10 easy steps. Ow. Wow, this attack swing arc is not really great for multi-hitting them, is it? It goes right over the heads of some. What is this, some kind of penetrator karma? Hey, there's 2 of them in there. Look at you. The large sword of Moonlight. Just gonna get out of this particular place for a bit. Goodbye. Peacing out. Alright, that's the right side. Requires 24 faith in this game. Is it magic in other games, I think? Does magic attack. 0 physical attack. It's all S rank. It's an S rank faith weapon. Weird. Legendary large sword that reflects moonlight, widely known in association with Moonlight Knight Beto. It's one of the few revelations from God. The blue crystal blade is composed only of lights, so it's impossible to block with a shield. I think in other games it's an intellect. Isn't it like an intellect weapon that scales with your intelligence or something? This is interesting. So it has exclusively magic attack. Means it can't be blocked by defense against normal weapons. And it doesn't require a single point of strength or dex. It's just straight 24 faith, period. And then it scales with faith like crazy. Did I... My playthrough 4 years ago started off as a cleric, I believe, but I don't know if they actually went properly into faith. They probably went more into other stats. Because if I redid that playthrough again now, I'd probably play through this zone early-ish on and want to get this weapon, and then have a crazy, like, faith-based sword in my build, which could be really interesting for being able to cast miracles, but also have a scaling damage weapon. Admittedly, depend a bit on how much... You have to depend a little bit on the, how much people are weak to, magic. You can see the outline of the weird blurring thing, too. Look at that. That's interesting. It seems to be that everything in the background is supposed to blur, possibly in order to make all of the, like, lights in the distance look blurry like that, because it looks cool. But they have to do, like, a note-for-note filter. They have to do, like, a filter over all the wood, so it doesn't blur. Which means that if you line it up, you can see that the Moonlight Greatsword blurs on the background, but doesn't blur on the wood. Which is the most bizarre thing to look at. Wow. What kind of weird tricks go into these games? Interestingly, I get to swing it. I think that's because you only miss out on being able to swing a weapon correctly if you just don't have the strength or dex. So if you have the strength or dex requirement, you can still swing it. It's just that it's a poopy weapon. It does 19 damage, magic only, because I don't have access to the stats, unfortunately.